It's rightly quoted that where there is a will, there is a way. And our speaker today is a great example. I am Prachi Ahuja and this is F&B Talks, an online interview by the Restaurant Times powered by Posist. It's a content series specially curated for restaurateurs for inspiration, learning, and newer ideas. Our today's guest is Harry Kosato of Sushi and More, India's largest sushi delivery service. Welcome to F&B Talks, Harry.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm privileged and honored to be here chatting to you and all your guests. Thank you so much.
So before we begin, let me introduce you to the speaker of today. Harry Son is parlor entrepreneur, social psychologist, and sushi curator. London School of Economics and Oxford educated, he launched Virgin and Dyson in Japan as a head of marketing. It might sound surprising, but he is also a qualified international tax expert. These days, he runs a project as diverse as Sushi and More and Kikkoman in India. While Sushi and More is the sushi delivery service, Kikkoman is Japan's #1 soy sauce brand with history spanning over 350 years. A man of simplicity, Harry holds the Guinness Book of World Records, and these days he is completing his doctorate in business at Swiss Business School from Zurich. Harry loves simple food, books, and yoga, and also he is India's first Japanese TEDx speaker.
Thank you. Thank you for the very kind and introduction. It doesn't include all of my failures and the challenges that we have faced in the journey as an entrepreneur, but thank you so much for the kind introduction.
It's our pleasure, Harry. So before we start, I just want you to tell us that what all you think about, F&B industry as a general industry. What all are your thoughts on being in this industry? What all were your learnings? What all were your challenges, the major challenges that you faced while being here?
Yeah. So I think I will answer it in two parts. One, I think all of us enjoy great food, and all of us enjoy a great experience. And I think food is, in my sort of definition, um, the purest form of entertainment. I mean, you can go to a movie. I don't know. You can go to a spa. Maybe you can read a book. You can do so many things. But food, I think, is the ultimate form of entertainment. So it's not only nourishing. It's also good for you. It's also a way to socialize with people, get to know other people, and to really enjoy. And you can do it, 3 times a day or more. You can do it 365 days. So it's a very, very important industry, and it's also an industry that is so fundamental to our human existence, and obviously for the food and the interaction that food brings in different ways to bring happiness to all of us. Additionally, I think where I'm sitting now in Mumbai in India, the F&B story here in India is just beginning. Obviously, 1.4 billion people plus are already eating food probably 3 times a day. But if you look at the opportunity in India, which is threefold, one is the sheer scale of India. Second is the variety of different cuisines that you can enjoy around India. That is in both the diverse nature of Indian cuisine as well as all of the foreign cuisine that's coming in.
Mhm.
And third thing is the sheer growth potential of India. That as an F&B entrepreneur, and there's so many of us, the sky's the limit. And I think we're just beginning to see the trend of, let's say the curve was like this. The last 15 years I've been in India for the F&B industry. The curve is going to go like this. And I think that is for us, and going back to my first point, the fact that you can deliver so much happiness because it's such an integral part of one's life, and the fact that the story is actually being played out in India, I think that's a very, very exciting time to be in the F&B industry.
So kind and so generous words about F&B industry, Harry. It's amazing to know the journey and the growth that F&B has been doing since then. So my first question to you here comes up is one cannot think of Japanese food for like without soya sauce, and likewise, cheese in Italian cuisine and
Mm,
spices in the Indian one.
mm.
So, what are the major factors while choosing the correct and the perfect ingredient for your restaurant? Also, the major key points one must keep in mind while the selection for their kitchen.
Mm. Okay, so that's a very good question. I think as we have or as we are coming out of the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
I think people have realized over the last 2.5 years or so that life is very unpredictable. But at the same time, I think what we have started to realize, I think, as both consumers and also as F&B professionals, is that more and more people are seeking better products, or shall we say, more authentic products,
Correct.
or shall we say, more maybe even more pure and natural products, which are good for the health, because anything can happen to you in life. Now, I've had my fair share of experiencing earthquakes. We had the tsunami back in 2011 in Japan, the
Mm-hmm.
earthquake back in 1995 in Kobe, Japan. So I mean, and natural calamities and other human-made disasters and crises always happen. But I think this 2.5 years have really taught us the value of valuing our time. That the things that really bad things can happen, really unfortunate things can happen. So that means that we have to take care more of, as a restaurant or an F&B business, we have to also give our consumers a better choice. So, like for example, we use Kikkoman soy sauce, which is a naturally brewed all-purpose seasoning, which is being used in over 100 countries. We are more than $4.4 billion business globally, and millions of professional chefs and people who are cooking at home, doing takeout, delivery, whatever. All of them are using it. Now, what I'm trying to say is that you know, Kikkoman soy sauce for us is an authentic and very pure and natural ingredient. So I think what most entrepreneurs and also people who are buying the product are going to be expecting more,
Mm-hmm.
better products, better
Correct.
ingredients. And maybe 10, 20, maybe 30 years ago, there was a lot of use of synthetic materials or something which is added sugars or different kind of artificial sweeteners or etc., which obviously is still being used. But I think that the industry and the globally, as well as in a developing country like India, we would see a bigger shift to maybe more organic products, more pure and natural products, products which are authentic, like truly authentic. You can say you're authentic, but what does authenticity mean? What does really natural mean? What does pure mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the things that ingredients wise, I think people will be shifting to use those at home, to choose pure and natural over artificial and maybe quick and easy, things that actually make time to make things which are labor of love, and are really good for you, if you know what I mean. I think so. Yeah, and just to add, like Kikkoman soy sauce, for example, for sushi and more, it's an integral ingredient. Without soy sauce, we cannot serve sushi. But one of the things that we've been trying to do in India is for Indians to realize that you can use Kikkoman soy sauce in anything, whether it is in your biryanis, your lamb khichiris, or your samosas,
Mm-hmm.
which is like people will be surprised with it. But the thing is, it's an all-purpose, quality, authentic, natural, pure and natural ingredient, and that's why I think all of us at Kikkoman, my team in India and our team globally, want more people to enjoy better, delicious experiences using Kikkoman soy sauce.
Correct. Thank you so much for your deep insights on ingredients part. So jumping on to the next question, going on with the unique trends, people today enjoy the international cuisine and accept them with their, unique flavors and taste. But I'm sure a lot goes behind, making the awareness about the same and making people know that this food actually exists. So, what were the greatest challenges that you faced while you started with an international cuisine business here, and how were you able to overcome them?
I think it's a very fascinating question because 15 years ago, a lot of my friends in Japan, in London, in New York, they're saying, Harry, India, back then, this is 2007, nobody's going to eat sushi. You know how, you know,
Absolutely.
there's no. I mean, there was like relatively poor cold chain.
Hmm.
There was issues about hygiene. There was issues about transportation. There was about the ingredients were not available. Maybe the staff weren't trained. There was, you know, maybe a whole list of things of, you know, what could not be done or it was not possible. So, like sushi now, however, after 15 years, is probably the number one trending new cuisine in India. Whether you go to a smaller restaurant which is serving Pan Asian cuisine, you will find sushi. I have restaurants who may be serving mainly Indian food that has sushi. And obviously, there are the main players who are doing, you know, Japanese food. That's also a growing segment. So in that respect, there is a lot more potential now. But 15 years ago, they're like, it's not going to work in India. So I think what you have to realize is that one is sushi is a global cuisine.
Hmm.
Two is global cuisines will find their way into any city or any country as long as there is time. And the third thing is that it's all about good taste and making, because good taste makes people happy, right? So once the good taste is accepted by a small number of people, who may be having experienced their first sushi in Paris or in New York or in
Hmm.
Singapore, because you know last 15 years so many Indians have traveled overseas for the first time, or and some people have gone many times, is that there is this increasing population of people who went outside and, oh, I love sushi in Japan, or I love sushi in New York. So I want to have it here. Then, you know, smart entrepreneurs will come to India, or have are Indians who have set up businesses already, who are maybe doing Chinese food or say Indian food. Say, oh, I'm going to put Japanese on the menu, sushi on the menu, because so
Hmm.
this kind of spiral, you know, this sort of, you know, people experiencing it, eating in, wanting to have it in India. These very enterprising entrepreneurs like, you know, we're going to put sushi on the menu. And now, 15 years from 2007, they say, "Oh, Harry-san, you had the foresight to open the business, you know, 15 years ago." But in that respect, what is important to realize is that, you know, you can only imagine what the world would be, but
Absolutely.
um, it's natural to enjoy sushi, good sushi. It's natural to have good taste, to have good food, and natural to be happy with good sushi. So I think, I don't know if I've answered your question, but I kind of sort of turned it around a little bit. But I think you have to realize that new cuisine is going to be coming into India because it's a matter of time. Because we're all human beings. We
Hmm.
really like good, simple, tasty, yummy food. And sushi is light. It's healthy. It's actually trendy. It's even sexy, maybe. And we have 60-70% of our customers are, for example, repeat. That means that the cuisine is very popular and something that people need in order for them to really have a great life.
Hmm. Absolutely, Harry, absolutely. So going forward, I really want to ask you that cloud kitchen is a new bloom for the F&B industry. And I also want to mention that Sushi and More is India's largest independently done Japanese food delivery and takeaway business.
Yeah.
And for the same, I really want to want you to share, some insights on the consistency and personal experience that you had in cloud kitchens in India and how you made a cloud kitchen business successful run.
So I'm not too sure whether we're successful yet. I think my definition of success is a little bit more different. I think success is about three things. Is about long term, means that it's not 1 year or 3 years or 5 years. I think I'm talking about decades and 10 years, 20 years, and 30,
Mhm.
30 years.
Right.
Secondly, I think success is always whether what you say and what you do is aligned. So that, I think, we're coming closer because we're sort of delivering what we want to deliver, and then the customers are accepting that. And thirdly, I think it's all about making sure that we really fulfill our potential in terms of success. So, I mean, success is in the coming for Sushi and More in India, in my opinion, because we're just beginning the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I look at the last 15 years, 5 years, which was prep, and then 10 years, which was running the business, it really is ups and downs. And actually, the insight is for me critically, there's two things. One is HR, which is the people who are running it. And
Mm-hmm.
secondly, it's operations, right? So whether you have the right people and the right operations, because that's, I mean, the marketing, the branding, the logos, the PR, those are very necessary. But unless you get the people right and the operations right, you don't have a business. Now, obviously, ingredients, the menu, the packaging, the delivery, the marketing offers, the Instagram, those are very, very important. But at the core of any F&B business, as all of you know, it's about the people who run it and it's about the systems or the operations. So unless these are fixed and we're able to rely on our people for these systems and the people to rely on the systems and systems around the people, great people, we're not able to really have a sustainable and growing business. And going back to the point about growth, we're not successful yet. I think, we're still talking about the next 10 years, the next 20 years. We're
Mm-hmm.
also talking about the fact that, it's just beginning. So from my point of view, Sushi and More as a business in India, we're just beginning. And I think this consistency really comes from making sure that the people and the systems are in harmony. That is the only way I think that real food and business, F&B businesses operate. And one of this is not working, obviously marketing and then the product and all, those are very important, right? Don't get me wrong. But, the two key things you have to get right, I think.
Absolutely. No, definitely. So, coming on to your point, what do you think? How important is social media these days for F&B trends?
I think it's a very good question. Like, I think like last 5 years, there's been this huge growth in social media. Even myself, I think I'm very much on social media and I actually learn a lot through social media.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm seeing a little bit of a slowing down on for example, for the number of Instagram followers that we have, or I mean by followers I mean genuine followers, like real followers. And I
Correct.
see there's this a little bit of this, and 15 years ago is Facebook, right? Now, okay, when you compare Facebook and Instagram, it's probably Instagram.
Correct.
So Instagram was like new, and I didn't
Mm.
really use Instagram so much until like 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when and then the pandemic happened, and we had nothing to do, so we were on Instagram. So what I'm trying to say is that Instagram is the preferred mode of social media communication right now, but in the future there might be something else. You can't imagine it now. That's life. You cannot imagine things like the internet or running water or mobile phones. Those are kind of new inventions which have already taken over our life, which is so natural and given. But what I'm trying to say is, I think it's so difficult to understand what's going to happen next. Also, and social media is the big thing right now, and I think a very important thing. But
Mhm.
one point of me feels as though there's a little bit of this. I've done too much social media. I'm like, that's why they talk about digital detox, for example. So, you can't too much of a good thing and all that. That quotation is there. But I have a feeling that it is important, but even more than that, going back to what I was saying, it's the people in the operations, right?
Correct.
And people in operations make the product, right? So the product, so those kind of things is maybe more important than social media. Although social media, because the thing is, you can promise a lot on social media, but then once you get the people making the food comes out like not so good. What does it mean, right? So that's what I'm saying. I think it is important, but I think you should not get carried away with it.
Absolutely, Harry. Now, in the end, I just want to ask your vision for your brand going forward and also any advice to all our budding restaurateurs and, sushi makers you want to give personally.
Yeah, I think the vision for us, we just had a retreat with all of our team on Monday. where we talked about the past and the future. And I think I s- I'm talking in decades, I think, but before people reach to say, I want to do 100 stores in 10 years, we've never had that goal per se, because we've always said, um, concentrate on the food that you're making today.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing. And then when we were concentrating all on that, then in 10 years we've had 9 stores. So the psychology is very interesting, because they're saying, tell about the futures. You can, it's very easy to say I want to do 1,000 stores in, I don't know, 20 years. But I think that's a number. Rather, I think we should all be concentrating on today. What are we going to do every day? Are we sure that this order that is going out is going to deliver the same amount of happiness to the customer, every single order? And as far as the message to the people who want to join this industry, or who are just recently starting up, and I'm not a man to kind of position to offer you sort of advice per se, but if I may say, I can offer you my experience. Is that three things: enjoy, enjoy, and enjoy. That's it.
Totally. Amazing, Harry. It was an insightful and an amazing talk with you.